Welcome to Ask Earl Anything 30. It's my 30th episode. Thank you for watching. Remember, your questions make the show. A couple things before I get started. I have 3 questions this week. It should not be a long show, but it'll be a impactful show, hopefully. Some of you will enjoy it. There was 3 pretty good questions for this week. I think they're different questions than what we've been getting. So this should be an interesting one to talk about. Couple things. I will be on Jeff Holden's show on Sunday night, September 2nd. And we will be talking about vintage drum gear and I'm sure other things for sure. So watch out for that. It's 8 p.m. Central Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe. Okay, but check Jeff's channel just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. I've been flying this week, so away from home, and I was in the Eastern Time Zone. I don't think I crossed into the Central Time Zone this time, even though I did fly through Detroit, which is kind of interesting this morning. But I am home today, and I am home to do Ask Earl Anything, and hopefully this will get out on time on Friday. So I'm on Jeff Holden's show on Sunday night. On September 1st, Ask Tony something. I forget what Tony's show is, all classic drum covers, but he's having his first Ask Tony question show. So please support Tony's show. I sent in a video question. He kind of snibbered my video question this week, so some of you have seen me there. So I guess I'm going to be on that show too, but just because I asked a question. Hopefully some of you guys ask Tony questions this week. And what else did I want to say? Beats by Jay's got a show too. I don't know if his is coming out Saturday night, but there's a lot of live chat things going on. Tony's is not a live chat, it's more of a show like this. Drum covers. I put out a couple drum covers this week. I'm trying to put it out a couple drum covers a week now. I'm trying to back off on the drum covers. I'm hoping to start doing more things some more things that I enjoy doing versus putting out lots of rock covers, but I have a few rock covers in the can, and there's a couple good drumless tracks that have come out this week, one of them being Africa by Toto is the way to put it. But I'm hoping to do that one, and I found that track. I don't know how long it's going to be out there, so if you guys are looking for Africa, this is the week to go find it. I think it's on Free Drumless Tracks, but be looking for it. I think he's got it this week. Couple other announcements. I'm going to continue messing with the show, with the Ask Earl Anything show. And if questions are not coming in, maybe this is finding its way out. I'm not sure. But one thing is for sure, I'm going to continue to have a presence here on YouTube. I'm just backing off a little bit. I'm starting to back off my mindset about it too. So don't be offended if I don't like or say stuff about all your videos. I may be checking in. I may just hit the like button. But my time right now is, focused on my business. My business is pretty important right now. We're doing some new things in our life with church and stuff, and life has kind of gotten a little bit hectic lately with travel and other things. So I'm starting to reevaluate some things, and YouTube's got a place. And I will continue doing this show as long as you guys want to see the show. I am hoping at some point to do a live chat. I just don't know when it's going to happen. And when I do it, I'm going to bring some very special type guests on when I do it. So that's going to be my goal, is when I start doing the live chat, it will be some guys that you may hear me talk about sometimes, but are very special guys. So I'm looking to hopefully bring some of those guys onto a chat show once I figure that out. But I want to build the community up. I want to continue building up the community. That's what my channel's about. My channel's about building people up. I appreciate all the feedback I get, all the positive feedback I get. Some of you guys have been noticing I have 2 likes per every video, dislikes per every video I get. What can I tell you? Matter of fact, I didn't include his question in this, but the hater actually wrote me a question this week. So let's start by talking about the hater's question. Now, I didn't answer him last week, but if I go to my Ask Earl Anything show, there was a question on my Ask Earl Anything show last week, and it came from somebody. I did not respond to this question, so if you want to know his name, okay, it's on Ask Earl Anything 29, and the question was, who is your favorite drummer? And I thought it was kind of interesting because ever since me and this guy have not been getting along, I've been getting 2 dislikes per video since that day. He told me to get the heck out of his life. He didn't like something I said, and that was the end of it. And ever since then, I've been getting 2 hateful dislikes on every video since then. So I get people don't like people, and I guess if you're starting to get dislikes, that must mean something, you know? That's not who I am in this community, okay? So this guy asked the question, who's my favorite drummer? I guess he watches the show. I don't know why he watches the show. That's the question I would have for you, Mr. I'm not going to say your name. I would ask you why you watch the show. If you've been watching the show, and I know you have, if you look at some of my covers, you kind of get the impression that there are a few drummers that are influenced to me. One being Steve Gadd, for sure. There's a Danny Seraphine, Chicago connection there. And studio players of all genres, being anybody from Rick Marotta, Andy Newmark, Jeff Porcaro, Jim Keltner. I like to play groove stuff, but I also have some jazz stuff I like to play. So to answer the haters' question, those are my influences. Those are the people that influence me. Not heavy metal guys, not guys. I'm not really into a lot of the heavy metal guys, even though I respect a lot of those players. I mean, I love Alex Van Halen, and I can understand Lars, and when I listen to some of those old Metallica tunes, I hear it, you know? And all those guys have got a place in this world, and some of them are great technical drummers. Some of them are great at what they do drummers, okay? So I don't hate any drummers. I love all kinds of music, but my favorite style of music is groove, and it's music that's made for the song. I'm a songwriter's kind of drummer. That's what I enjoy doing. But anyhow, I just found it fascinating that he actually asked that question, and I didn't put it in my questions this week. So any of you are interested in knowing who it is, go to Ask Earl Anything 29 and look for that question about who's your favorite drummer that's unanswered, and you'll know who the guy is. He doesn't make videos, by the way. Most of these guys that hate you, though, and dislike you, they don't make videos. Because if they made videos, then you could go to their channel and say, wow, you really suck, don't you? They don't want that. They don't want you saying to them, you really suck. That's the one thing they don't want to hear out of your mouth. They want to hear from you. They want to hear you defend yourself, why you play something. You know? It's just kind of funny, you know? If they can do it better, make some videos. Get in the game, you know? I still won't diss you, because there's a lot of guys I know I can play circles around, but I never diss those guys. Because I'm not here to diss anybody. I'm here to encourage people. That's the idea of this channel. The idea of this channel is to encourage drummers, young drummers, old drummers, new drummers, drummers been playing for a long time, and to build a community here, not to beat each other up. But the guys who like to beat up people and like to dislike people, those are usually the guys that can't play for shit. Oops. I might have to cut that one. They can't play for doo-doo. I cut that one. They can't play for doo-doo. So that's just the truth of the matter. The guys who can play, they don't have to dislike other people. They can respect everybody. Okay, it's only the ones who can't play that have no videos out of the ones that are all the trolls. So trolling is something that's happening out there. And I know it's hurting not just me. There's a bunch of guys getting hurt. Okay, and I know where some of the trolling is coming from. There's feuds in this community for some stupid reason. Okay, I'm not part of the feud, so if you're trolling me for that reason, I'm Switzerland in those things, okay? But when it comes to the rest of it, you know, I play the videos I play the music I play. If you don't like the way I play, I get it, that's fine. If you want to leave a dislike, have fun, leave a dislike. But just remember this, at least I threw in. Wasn't afraid to put my talent, my voice, my opinion on the line towards the drumming community. Okay? So that's how I feel about it. Okay? So doo-doo caca. I'll probably cut that. All right. Here's the first real question of the show. This comes from Jay Klein. And Jay Klein says, do you have a routine in regards to keeping your gear clean? Do you cover your drums when you're not using them? Do you ever polish your stands? When is the last time you wiped off your shells and rims? Can you tell I haven't done that in a while? That's pretty funny. Oh, man. I'll be honest. The only time I clean my drums is when I do a complete head change. And I'm in one of those crazy kind of cleaning modes where I want to clean everything up and shine things. But when your drums are as old as my drums are, all of my drums are old drums. It's part of the vintage appeal. I will say my drums are a lot less dusty right now because we are blessed to have somebody that helps clean our house, and she got really crazy one day, and we just hired this new person to help us because my wife and I both work full-time jobs, and we're both running around the world, it seems like. And she just came in the studio and cleaned this place up. So my drums look a lot shinier the last couple weeks. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's the truth. But I usually wipe them down and clean them when I change heads, to be honest. I'll be honest. That's usually when I do that kind of stuff. I don't cover my drums. I don't cover my microphones. I will tell you, I keep the large diaphragm condenser mics usually in the case. But my drum mics are out all the time. I don't know. I'm just not big on that stuff. You know, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of guys that really are. There's guys that don't like fingerprints on their cymbals and things like that. That's not my thing either. Even though I'm looking at my Paiste giant beat hi-hats over on the other kit, and you can tell it's starting to wear in a little bit. They're getting used pretty good. And I've been thinking maybe it might be nice to rub some of that groove juice stuff in there and clean it off a little bit. I mean, if I was doing like really high-end shows where you wanted to shine and glimmer, you know, get the sizzle off the stage, I might clean them up, but I'm not playing in any of those bands. So polishing stands, no, not really. I do wipe the rims off though when I change things out. You know, I'll wipe things off, and if things look really dusty, Jay, I'll definitely clean it off. But it's got to be on that edge for me to do that. So I'll just be honest. Does that help you at all? I mean, I guess if you got an electronic kit like you got, Jay, you know, you want to cover it maybe because you don't want it to get dusty and get into any of the circuitry and stuff. But acoustic drums are pretty robust. Ask Jeff Holden, who buys a lot of vintage gear from people, a lot of stuff on Craigslist. The more grimy it is, the cheaper you can get it for, you know. And then you clean it up and it looks good, and got yourself a nice piece of gear there. You know? So that's pretty cool. All right. Next question comes from Rich Raw Dog Drums. And Rich was with Jay on keeping your set clean and dust free. I will tell you, if you want to keep it clean and dust free, put a sheet over the kit. I might have did that when I had it in a garage in New Jersey for a little while, but I might have did it over my Vistalite kit. I used to want to keep that clean. But the next question comes from Rich Raw Dog, and he says, what are you doing in your studio for soundproofing? Now, let's talk about this stuff. This stuff is sound diffusing material. It's not soundproofing. If you go outside of my house at night, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm playing drums in here, you will hear the bass drum boom, and you can tell there was some drummer in here. And if my neighbors have their windows open, they might hear it, okay? My studio is not soundproofed, okay, Rich? What I have going on here is I have this sound absorption material. And the reason for the foam in the studio is more to make the room dead and make it a better recording room than to be soundproofing. I actually live on a street where I'm at the end of the street. My neighbors don't really care too much about my drumming. They like to play loud music. I don't play really late at night, so I don't have any issues with that kind of thing. And when I do play late at night, I never get called out on it. So The purpose of the foam in this studio is to make this studio dead enough to record drums and take out some of those weird frequencies that you get in a room. And a lot of my room's construction has to do with the foam on the walls and what's in these shelves. Behind the camera, over here on the right side of the studio, is about 40 plus years of Modern Drummer, 20 plus years of recording magazines, sound on sound recording, mix, all kinds of stuff there, drum catalogs, and I've got a lot of stuff in here that's kind of acting like a bass trap. Also got a nice couch behind the desk that you usually see in the video when I shoot the camera from this side. You get a picture of the desk and the speakers and the computer monitors. And on this wall, and right along the edge of the desk, you've actually got foam, and the foam is kind of a sound absorption material. And that's what gets the sound in this room. And I just by accident got a good sounding room. I have to be honest, with the carpet on the floor and the sound absorption in a cinder block room that's not square walls, because I've got a 17 by 19 room, and I've got a couple of these angled walls. By the way, I had the guy who helped me put these shelves in. He built the angled walls for me. So I've got angled walls, and I've got some insulation in the wall corners too. So they're kind of like a bass trap. And I did everything I did in this room has to do with trying to get this room to sound right. And literally where the camera is this week, because I'm just using my iPhone to record, is usually just about where I put a vocalist usually in the room, and I don't really have to put anything up. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of a packing blanket on this wall right here to cover the mess up. But truthfully, there's not any real reverb in the room. I mean, there's a little bit of reverb, but it's a natural thing. It's not a slap back. It's not an odd sound. And I used to have a honk in the room. I had this honk at about 400K, 400 to 500 kilohertz. And I had on this wall right over here where my regular drum kit was, I used to put a rug on the wall. And one day I was looking at it, I couldn't get rid of this honk in any of my early recordings in 2006 and 7. And I was looking at it and I just sensed, if I take that rug down, I wonder what would happen. I pulled the rug down and I put these diamonds up. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And before that I didn't have the door here. And the diamonds changed the room. The rug came off the wall and it changed the whole sound of the room. And ever since then the room has been right on the money. So I don't have soundproofing. I have sound absorption material to get a certain sound and vibe in the room. So I hope that answers the question, Rich, because that's kind of that's what I'm doing with it. Now, if you want to soundproof a room, there's a lot of ways to do that. Like you build a room in a room, you build a floating floor. I mean, there's guys that get as crazy as putting a floor like 6 inches off the ground on hockey pucks, so you just have no sound underneath, or filling it with sand. I gotta be honest, my first house in New Jersey, I had a 3-car garage. There was a 2-car garage converted into a studio. It was a large 2-car garage studio. And anyhow, I took years to build the rooms and everything and put the insulation in and get the windows in. And I had these 3 different rooms, and then we moved. And I promised myself I would never again get that crazy about a room. So I recorded my wife's album in a bedroom in Coral Springs, 11 by 11. And I've learned that you've got to make do with what you have. But if you are having a problem with your neighbors, there are things you can do as far as building a wall within a wall. The air is a great insulator. So that's why they build the wall, and then they build a second wall. And that makes it more soundproof. The concept of the wall within the walls kind of thing. And usually there's like a couple inches between the first set of wall and then the second set of wall. And of course you sheetrock both sides, that kind of thing. And it's a huge undertaking, trust me, a huge undertaking. The investment I didn't want, I'd rather invest in equipment, to be honest. So that's the answer to that question. And my last question comes from 2112 Drums. He says, great show. What's your opinion on Piccolo snare drums? Well, at present, I don't have a Piccolo right now. Now, my son-in-law's 3x13 Pearl Piccolo is in the other room, but I never play it really. I've tuned it up. I could use it for a session. I don't really play it. I've had soprano drums. I had a 6.5x10 I gave to a guy who helped me with my Mac. I had a 3.5x14 brass Tama drum for years. I had a 3.5x14 Pearl free-floating drum. That's where that hammer name came from. I told that story about I got this drum and it just cracked your head off. I had a 4x14 DMR Piccolo that my good friend Alan Levine has. He wanted a 4x14. I gave it to him. I thought he would appreciate it more than me. And he does. He likes it. It's white. It's a great drum. Dan built a great drum, and I thank you, Dan, for the drum you gave me, that one. By the way, everything in Alan's collection may come back to me someday, so that's just the way life works. But Alan's been a great friend, and he was digging the drum, so I gave it to him. So he's got that Piccolo. I actually had a Noble Cooley Piccolo at one point. My friend Scott Hazen gave me a 3 7/8 by 14. It was kind of like an orange red Piccolo, solid shell. That drum had some freaking crack, I'll tell you that much. That was a great drum with a die cast. The problem was it had no depth. I can get a Piccolo sound out of my 5x14 Noble Cooley. If I crank those heads up, I can get a Piccolo sound out of it. I have. I can also get depth out of it if I want to too. So Piccolo drums are really cool. They're like a one-trick pony for the most part. Also, Alan Levine has my other Piccolo drum, which was the drum I built. It was 3.5x13, and I talked about getting a shell kit from Stu McDonald in 1995 and staining the drum, trying to match my drums and stuff. That drum, Alan Levine has that drum too. So he has 2 of those Piccolos. He likes that sound apparently. Well, he likes little jazz cymbals. So my friend Alan, he's a funny guy. He has a 20-inch Spitz. He has 2 20-inch Spitzes, I think. Spizzacinos from Italy. Spizzacino died in 2011 or 12, so if you can find a Spitz, you've got like a great custom cymbal from Italy. And he has 2 of them. I think one might be a 19 and one's a 20. But yeah, those are great cymbals. And they're really dark. They're different than the Caropes. Very, very different. They get a little more ping to them. But both are really cool cymbals. But he likes small cymbals. He had this 16-inch crazy cymbal. I think it's over here. This was Alan's cymbal. This is a 16-inch Istanbul Mehet Agop, both of them signed. This is an original Istanbul's Pasha ride. This is actually a ride cymbal. And I use that as a bottom hi-hat cymbal. So Alan digs these small little cymbals. He had an 18-inch too, Jazz Ride. I had that for a while. Very cool cymbal. I mean, I can't find a use for it other than a bottom hi-hat cymbal, but it looks kind of cool. But if it had it on top, I probably might even use it. It's got that really nasty unlathed thing going on, kind of like the Rudes. Interesting cymbal. Anyhow, I diverted from Piccolos, but he's got my Piccolos. So Piccolos are one-trick ponies. If you like them, they're cool. It's nice to have one in the collection. Right now, my 11 snare drums, I don't have that in the collection. So presently, I've got some 6.5x14s. I got some deep drums. I got an 8x14, I got a 10x14, a 7x14, 2 6.5x14s, 2 5x14s, 3 5x14s. There's one at my practice place for the band I'm in, the Swigs, and it's a Gretsch round badge with the funky throw off. My son-in-law had it. It was kind of dented up. I kind of fixed it up and stuff. It's brass, and with the lightning throw off and stuff, and die-cast tubes. It's actually a good sounding drum. It's not a Black Beauty, but it's a good sounding drum. It really is. So I got 3 of those, and then I've got the Pearl 5x13, which isn't considered a piccolo, I don't think. It's just a 13-inch drum, but you can crank this up. That's almost piccolo. So I mean, this drum definitely could be a piccolo, and then I've got the Steve Jordan. So piccolos are cool, definitely cool drums. I definitely nice to have one in the collection. It's more of a side drum to me, and you know, I don't play too many side drums in any of my videos. I'm not big in the 2 snare drum thing. I could get into it very easily, but I just don't do it very often. I'm not into the other tom over here on the side either. I've done that all a bunch of times in my life. It's not me. I'd rather have a little 4-piece kit, a little 5-piece kit, maybe 6 double floor toms are kind of cool. It's even hard for me now to fit the 10 in, you know, putting the 10 up here and do the Jeff Piccolo thing like I used to do a long time ago. Lots of toms are hard. It's easier to play with smaller amount of drums. And matter of fact, this setup really makes me feel creative. So, all right, that's Ask Earl Anything. That's all the questions for this week. Remember, your questions make the show. And if I don't have questions, we don't have a show. Okay? But I hope you enjoyed the show, and leave your questions. Thumbs up, likes, lots of likes. Subscribe. Haters, do what you're going to do, okay? Have a great week. Bye.